Okay, what? Huh. This is absolutely not the commentary that I thought we'd ever be making about this player. But today, we're going over Vancouver Canucks' recent re-signee, Brock Boeser, and some latest updates from the New York Islanders beat that dive into, apparently, how things could have gone had Brock not actually re-signed in Van. Now, the Brock Boeser story with Vancouver in 2024-2025 was a big roller coaster of emotions. I think heading into the season, at the beginning of the year, before everything went awry, a lot of Canucks fans just kind of assumed, oh yeah, Brock's gonna probably stay, right? He's gonna be a long-term winger with JT Miller, and they're gonna have success for years to come. And then things didn't go all too well. Every forward was underwhelming. Pettersson wasn't as good, Miller wasn't as good, Brock wasn't as good, Brock didn't get re-signed by the time the trade deadline came around, and then Patrick Allvin made these comments in the media talking about how Brock wasn't really going for much. All the optimism that Canucks fans had at the beginning of the year, maybe 1 year ago heading into the 24-25 season about Brock's future in Van, was dissipated by that trade deadline, with the inactivity and the inability to re-sign him right away. So, when Brock ended up re-signing in Vancouver to open up free agency a few days ago, it was maybe the biggest shock in the hockey world. That and the fact that Florida was able to keep all their three guys, but still, Brock staying in Vancouver was a headline, and one that Canucks fans absolutely were not expecting. Now, we did have rumors as well as to where it is Brock would sign had he not gone to Vancouver for another 7 years. Had he hit the open market, and had he actually been offered contracts by upwards of 15 different NHL teams. We made videos about most of them. The LA Kings, the Boston Bruins, the Minnesota Wild, they were a big one. Everybody was talking about Minnesota because, of course, the guy is from Burnsville. He would want to go back home. But now we have ourselves an article that was written and published by Stefan Rosner, the Elmonters, and David Kolb on theelmonters.com that talks about the New York Islanders. This article will be linked in the description. It is behind a paywall, but Stefan Rosner, I'm pretty sure most of y'all are familiar with him. He does do stuff for the Islanders beat and for the hockey news. But this article talks about how the Islanders were close to landing a big fish, but how they were disciplined in free agency. Now, we did make a video about the New York Islanders just a few days ago talking about how they did a lot of really great things, from the draft to the Dobson trade to the free agents that they signed. This article talks about those free agents. It talks about Jonathan Drouin. It talks about Maxim Shabanov. How Matthew Darche is going out there and really making some good moves. And also how a lot of these Islanders forwards are hopefully healthier and potentially growing too. There are some younger guys on the wings like Simon Holmstrom, now you have Emil Heineman. And then the piece dives into some comments made by Matthew Darche himself about staying disciplined in free agency. Just because you have the cap space, you don't have to spend it all if you don't feel it's an appropriate way to spend your money. Whenever I sign guys, I look at the cap. I'm always looking 2 to 3 years ahead to make sure that we don't. Sometimes I might feel we have great cap space 1 year, and then you have 3 guys the next year coming out of ELCs, and their salaries go up, and then maybe you don't care about this year, but next year. You handcuff yourself. So there's a little planning like that we have to do. But before this article gets into the paywalled part of the piece, this is behind a paywall, but all the stuff that we have screenshotted is from the free preview. Before the paid content comes out, you see this paragraph being written. Yes, Maxim Shabanov could turn out to be a critical acquisition for the Islanders, but according to multiple sources, the Islanders were close to landing Brock Boeser, had the 28-year-old right-winger truly wanted to leave Vancouver. To give us a more specific scoop as to what happened, we're going over onto ProHockeyRumors.com. This article, which is not behind a paywall, will be linked in the description as well. It dives into these same notes posted by the Elmonters. Although they only came away with Jonathan Drouin and Shabanov to improve their offensive woes, the New York Islanders had their eyes on a bigger prize once free agency began. According to a new article from Stefan Rosner on the Elmonters, the Islanders were the highest on the list for winger Brock Boeser if he wanted to leave Vancouver. Ultimately, although he would have been a tremendous goal-scoring asset for the Islanders, Boeser remained with the Canucks on a 7-year, $50.75 million deal. And this information contradicts almost everything that we had learned about Brock and that we had heard about Brock over the past few months from essentially everybody else. Everybody was talking about, okay, Boston, okay, Minnesota. These teams are going to get involved and Brock is likely going to head over there. But now, Stefan Rosner of the Hockey News is saying that the Islanders were the top destination for Brock? Had he left the Vancouver Canucks and went to free agency? This would be the BBB line all over again. You're telling me that 8 years after Brock Boeser made his debut with the Vancouver Canucks, playing alongside a Bo Horvat and Sven Baertschi of all people, you're telling me that this guy would inevitably join Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal in the same line too? Oh boy. Imagine hearing that in 2018. When Brock Boeser and Matthew Barzal were battling it out for the Calder Trophy for the NHL's Rookie of the Year, only for Barzal to score 80-plus points with John Tavares getting secondary assists every goal, and for Brock Boeser to have had his season ended early because of the Jake Virtanen leaving the door open situation. Not to mention the fact that I think Brock got injured in a game against the Islanders, right? He was hitting Kyle Clutterbuck, I'm pretty sure. Imagine telling that version of a Canucks fan in 2018, in 7-8 years, Brock is going to leave Vancouver, he's going to join Bo Horvat and Matthew Barzal and the Islanders, and they're going to form a stacked first line. Now, it would be a little bit difficult because Barzal does play center but right wing. Brock is primarily a right winger too. Bo, of course, is a center. You would need to find a guy to play left. Maybe Brock can play left. You try to have him on that one-timer side to set him up with those bombs. Although I don't really think that's Boeser's strong suit necessarily. I do kind of question, though, if Brock was on the power play in New York, who would play the bumper? Would it be Bo or would it be Brock? Both of these guys have that sort of a skill set, and in Vancouver we saw multiple dudes able to play net front, able to play hash marks. Bo could be that hash mark triggerman. Andrei Kuzmenko was a cleanup crew in front. Brock would play down low when those guys would be in that spot, but then once Bo and Kuzmenko left, you had Brock Boeser as the net front guy, and he was being productive there too. So I wonder just where the Islanders would decide Brock would play had he made his way over to the Isles, potentially as a top free agent destination. But I think the scoop itself is like the big deal here. What in the world is this? Brock Boeser wanted to go to New York? He wanted to go play with Bo Horvat one more time? That's absolutely crazy. And I do kind of wonder, for Islanders fans' sakes, like, what would a Brock Boeser added Islanders squad lineup look like? If you are hearing about this for the first time, that, Brock wanted to go to your team, how does that make you feel? It makes me feel weird. We've been talking about the Islanders this entire time. They've been looking good, but they could have gotten Brock Boeser? Had Patrick Allvin just not circled back and given the offer that got it done, we might have been able to see Brock suit up with the Isles? Ay. The multiverse is weird, man. We could have seen a totally different version of this Brock Boeser future play out, and I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. How do you feel about this whole situation? Brock Boeser apparently wanted the Islanders. Yay or nay? Let me know in the comments all your opinions. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.